Want to 10x your growth? Discover how only 3 growth hacks in 10 days can change everything. Welcome to the 10-Day Growth Hacking Challenge with your host, Nader Sabri. Today we're here with Zaheer Nasser, who is shaking things up in the functional health medicine space. He's told us a little bit more about that in his first video. If you want to learn more about that, head over there. To get in touch with him or get to know a bit more about him and what he does, click below. Before we get started here, just to let you know, this is the methodology that we use here in the challenge. If you want to do what we're doing, use the growth thinking design methodology to do what we're doing. Nasser, how are you doing today? We're here on Hack 2, man. How does it feel?
Awesome. Thank you, Nader. Yeah, it feels great.
Awesome. So we've had an interesting journey, and we had a really rich discussion over the last 24 hours, especially just right now. Zaheer is in a very interesting situation where this happens to everybody, and he has some very interesting resources in place that are very valuable, and he's using that to springboard what he's doing, which is the smartest thing to do. The challenge with it is how to do it. And that's what I'm going to let Zaheer talk about in the sense of some of the experiences he had with hack number 1 and where we are today with hack number 2, and a really important decision we needed to make and why that was made right before we got started. So why don't we kickstart there? Remind us what hack 1 was, what has happened in the sense of the results, and then the critical decision that we had to make before we dig into hack number 2.
Yes, so hack number 1 was about taking the traffic that we already had on the Docturi website and using that to actually channel the sequencing part of hack number 2. We were looking at how we could monetize that traffic and assess the potency of the followers and the people visiting the site, so that we could then use that data to actually package our testing service for functional medicine and package it in a way that we understand the audience. The challenge that we had was for certain reasons, our analytics were not functioning, and we had to reestablish that. And in doing so, in the last 24 to 48 hours, we haven't really had enough data yet to be able to support that the plan of monetizing and building up that database of followers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Which is okay and normal. I mean, for those tuning in, when we run these experiments, right, they're not always going to go the way we want them, but they're never a bad thing. So the real learning here is that obviously there'll be some more time required for Zaheer to really see the potency of the audience. And so the calculations we did, we thought we would have it by then, but we didn't, which is okay. There's still a level of potency potentially there, and we need to kind of give it some time and see where that goes. And eventually, we want to be able to take that traffic and drive it to the offering that Zaheer is really positioning, which is the functional medicine services that he will be providing. Again, for more information on that, head over to the other video. He explains it into much more detail and more eloquently than I ever could. But that's where we are today. And so hack number 2 was essentially packaging these services and pushing it through the testing of the email sequences through that traffic, right? So here we are today. We've had to make a strategic decision where Zaheer had to decide, okay, do we continue going down, working with the platform to see if we can get that traffic and extract it? And there's a lot of growth hacking that can take place there. Or do we move on and let that happen in the background and continue growth hacking with the actual deployment of the services? And so Zaheer will tell you his decision now and why. Go for it.
Thanks, Nader. Yeah, so we've decided to push forward, and rather than using the email sequence from the website, we've decided to use our social media tools to actually test the packaging and bundling of our functional medicine tests, along with pricing and benefits to see how users respond. So we have through various social media channels, we have access to roughly 2,000 to 3,000 followers, and we're going to test that service with those followers to see
Perfect.
if it's something they want.
Perfect. So what's the good thing here is that we haven't lost track in the sense we want to get signals rather than results, and we're just going to divert the audience, which rather than it coming from the platform will come from the social media. Plus, I think you said you were going to potentially tap in some people that you know within your personal network, because we just want to get as many signals as quick as possible. So since we're at that point, and I think, and my hat goes off to you, Zaheer was a little bit worried, right? Right, it's okay. He felt maybe he had let me down, which is okay. I mean, I respect that, and that's awesome. But what's happened here is that we've had a massive, rich learning, and that's what this is about. He's moving forward like a train. He's gonna make this work regardless of how things might work out. And I believe that the golden card you have will work out somehow. I made a whole list of things, if you recall, before we spoke, which potentially could have gone wrong on the technical side, security side, content side. And these are all things that just when you optimize one by one, eventually you will get back to and potentially even more than the traffic you had. But it's just about really digging into those details. So moving forward, tell us what Hack 2 is. Okay. Give us a little bit more detail. Tell us what you've done already. And then what you plan to do next. I don't know if it's fully finished yet, but we can just talk about, I guess, the status of where we are. We've explained to why we are where we are, which is cool. Go for it. Hack number 2, where are we, and what's next?
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, so we are definitely going to continue to drive forward with Hack 1, but we'll park it for now and work on it in the background. Hack number 2 is about packaging, sequencing, and bundling of tests for functional medicine. We totally want to go full steam ahead with this because functional medicine is such an important topic and something that once we get launched will have a profound impact on the community and the city that we live in, as well as the wider region. So we're going to look at, and we've started already the research on how to combine various tests, whether they are food intolerancies or vitamin deficiencies, packaging them in a way where the user has the option to choose which packages are most appropriate. They have the option to upgrade them to bigger packages if they want to get some more health insights. And we're going to test that with our social media following and the community that we're in.
Yeah, awesome. So if I recall, just as a reminder, right, I think what we're doing is we're working on a 3 to 5 package format, which one package is a bundle. So it'd be 2 plus 1 or 4, 3 plus 1 or 4 plus 1. And essentially, I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to create packages. Correct me if I'm wrong. My memory hopefully serves me well. When we first started out, what we're trying to do is create packages that are progressive in nature. So there's like the starter package, which just gets you started, and you're very clear about what you get in the sense of benefits, but rather than features, right? So it's old classic stuff, right? No, we don't care about the features. This is what you get. Here's the list, but here's the benefits to you with starter package, and then the advanced package, and then the premium package. And so people can actually work their way through the different packages or take a bundle, all of them at once. And I think that's a really crucial part. I mean, we've seen so many contenders. And again, I've seen a lot of clients where packaging and pricing, they go hand in hand. And it's like, if you don't get that alignment right, you would be shocked what can happen. In fact, I have a client we were working with last week, and we were talking about sort of scalability problems. And one of the scalability problems is pricing. But here's the weird thing about pricing versus everything else. So in the back end, you can have everything sorted out. You can have your whole supply chain ready to scale, but your biggest barrier is the price. So the price is what actually stops the scale. But if you got the price right with the whole back end, then you actually super scale. You're going to move at speed, at unprecedented speed when you scale. And I've seen this happen actually in the food tech business recently with a local provider here who's nailed it. And he's just knocking everybody out. And it's funny because it's actually not that difficult to do, but it's like you need to understand why it's important and how it works into the growth strategy. And that's why most people don't do it or get it right. So in your case, I think that alignment of pricing, and I know we talked about, and I know you're going to work on it because there's some challenges and constraints with it, it'll align with the packaging. So go into a little bit of depth. I mean, what would these packages look like? Have you done any of them yet, or are you still engineering them?
So we haven't yet created the packages, but we have a number of ideas on how to sequence them. in terms of the basic packages, we're looking at things like a low level food sensitivity panel of 44 to 66 markers. But then when you go to a more advanced package, we're testing a full panel of 220 different food types. So there is scale not only in the number of tests and health markers, but also in how deep do you want to go into your health profile, and we can improve on that. So we have some ideas, and we're going to test them and see where it goes.
Awesome. So that's brilliant, and I think that's a really good way of doing it. So I think the next step, because we're now moving on to hack number 3, I think will you be working in sequence, working with sort of 2 and 3? I know we had a bit of delay because of hack 1, which isn't a big deal. Are you going to leave hack 2, move to 3, or are you going to continue on hack 2 and kind of go more in depth? What do you want to do, just for clarity, so we know what we're going to do?
So hack 3 is about testing the pricing and scalability. So we're going to continue with 2, but with keeping 3 in mind as we're doing the work, so that we can very quickly test. Once we've done the first test, we can do the second test for hack 3. Yep. So stay tuned.
Awesome. So that's pretty awesome. So one of the hacks that and this is an old school thing, but it works like a charm, something just to put in the back of your mind to challenge you with. So if I was to buy a coffee a day, like you've seen this, right? A coffee day, whatever it costs, multiplied by 30 days. And so in a single month, I spend X amount. And if you use that as a benchmark to your pricing models. And it's very interesting because the association or the relationship with coffee, whether you think it's healthy or not, is a different story. We won't debate that. But the fact that it is a food related thing that can have a health impact, good or positive, again, doesn't matter. But people can relate to that because they're having coffee every day. So it's like, whoa, okay, if I was to it's equivalent to having a coffee every day, I can take the whole bundle, for example. That's a well worth investment into my health. So you need to think of like some equivalences in there that you can use as measure, that somebody who's really curious or interested about their health, of course, with some comparable that somebody commonly consumes. I think it could be a really interesting way just for angling it. I remember we did this with a client in the energy business, and there was a new type of technology that was used to basically save energy, and we converted it into how many cups of coffee. And so it was so big that we figured it was enough coffee or coffee beans to fill up like a whole football field. I don't remember what it was. It was just some measure like that. We actually managed to create a Photoshop, taking this whole place, putting the beans in there, and like it's like that is equal to this, and that became the anchor to how powerful everything after that became, because everyone can relate to that. And so there's some complexity in education that's required in the sense of functional medicine, right? Yeah. So go for it. I think you got, I think it's like striking something with you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think, when we look at an average of a coffee a day, we spend, and nobody has just one coffee a day in this region, right?
Yeah.
So, we're spending close to 7,500 dirhams a year on coffee, yet most of us are not willing to pay the insurance deductible on a health visit. We worry about 50 dirhams or 100 dirhams for the additional lab tests. But yeah, when you compare it, it's the impact is so profound that I think that's a great tool, and definitely we have a few ideas in terms of comparables, and I won't disclose them just yet. I'll leave it a surprise. So,
I love it, man. Yeah. I like surprises. Okay, cool. So guys, surprise, huh? Keep tuned. All right, keep going.
So yeah, we're looking also at, in addition to the bundling, actually a subscription model, and the subscription model helps bring the cost of the long-term cost of the product offering down. So the lifetime value of the customer becomes higher, but we're providing them that long-term value for the year, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever they decide to subscribe for.
Yep.
And that way we can bring down that cost of cup of coffee to half instead of just a little bit less.
Exactly. And I think you bring up something very interesting, because there could be some behavioral targeting for that. So someone with a chronic problem would be somebody accustomed to spending on health more frequently. Therefore, a subscription service to help them tackle the chronic problem is going to be a lot more potent than somebody who's in generally okay health or good health, and they're just doing this as like a check just to see where they're at. And so this behavioral data and behavioral positioning, you're going to have to look at very carefully. And I think like, you know, potentially having like a chronic, you know, a chronic package alongside maybe that's a way of like, you've got your, let's say call it static packages, which is what we've been talking about. Then you've got your dynamic packages that have a parallel with those packages, which are people who have chronic problems, right? So somebody who just needs to consistently be doing this. And I think there's a lot of value add in chronic because you can bundle in technical support. I'm using the word technical support, but what I really mean is you have a doctor or a medical expert on board where the consultations are included in the subscription. So it's not like you're just getting the test, you're getting the help, you're getting the resources, and it's all in one price that you just pay for consistently, just like, you know, the chronic problem that you have. So I think those are considerations that are really important. I would challenge you to look at some of that as you design it. And I think we'll be interested, I think, to see that in the next challenge, plus the surprises you've got with those, you know, those measurables that like would be like, whoa, dude, like you said, I mean, you know, a drop in the water for an extra test versus like, you know, 7,500 on coffee in a year. I think it's probably even more than 7. It could be more than 7. I don't know. I didn't do the numbers, but you know, there you go, man. There you go. Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else before we move on from hack 2 to hack 3 you want to share with me or the audience before we move on?
No, this has been really, really helpful to guide me on how to package. So thank you so much. You've really been a great help, and I've learned a lot. So I look forward to seeing where we go from here.
Awesome. All right, guys. So as we tune out, for more information about Zaheer Nasser and what he does, click below. You want to know more about his story and what functional medicine is and what he's about to do to crack this space, get over to the first video, which is the kickoff video. As a final reminder, as we kick on out, if you want to do what we're doing here in the challenge, this is your tool. Growth thinking design methodologies, what we're applying. You can get this from Amazon.com and be able to do the same things. Zaheer, thank you very much. That's hack number 2. We'll see you in hack number 3 in the next video, man.